Hello, Jeff Patterson here. Today we're going to look at an exercise involving the 12 joints. And we're going to work with the wrists, the elbows, the shoulders, the hips, the knees, and the ankles, and work on the coordination and talk about how to develop power in all of the movements. Now, this is an exercise we use when we're doing some of the Yichuan test of power exercises. And it's also an exercise that I find really valuable and helps with the chin style Tai Chi, because in the chin there's a lot of that circular coiling movement. And so as we go through these, we're going to simplify it. We're going to do one at a time. And I highly recommend too, if you're practicing this, to maybe for the first couple weeks, just do the wrists and try to feel that connection. And oftentimes when we're doing this as an Yichuan exercise, we will just focus on that test of power exercise, focusing on the turning of the wrists. So we're going to start with a hip width stance, outsides of the feet parallel. Find your central equilibrium. And one of the easiest ways I find to do that is put your middle finger on the seam of the pants, relax your breath, softly visualize sitting down on a stool. So that'll let the bottom part of your spine and your tailbone softly cup forward a couple millimeters. From there, drop the chest and just take a couple relaxed breaths. You can even shift front and back, left and right, and try to find that point that makes you have the least amount of effort to maintain your upright posture. Take a couple breaths here. Oftentimes before I do this, I might do a standing posture to just help find my root and my connection. For the purposes of this video, I'm just going to show you the exercise. So the first movement, again, we're focusing on the wrists. When we're doing this, I want you to visualize almost like you were holding a volleyball or something that you could grip with your fingertips so they're active. So that your hands are not relaxed, you're slightly gripping like you're holding on to a ball. And we're going to focus on turning and circling that wrist joint. Now, as you're doing this, you want to visualize having power connected from the turning of the wrists through the body and down into the floor. So as I'm circling this movement, I'm coming up with power, back with power with the hands, down with power, and forward with power. And I'm trying to feel every millimeter of movement connected to the floor, almost like I have 1,000 rubber bands tied to my hand. And as I'm moving forward, they're tied behind me and at this down angle and up angle. And so I'm stretching and I'm moving the hands out. And now they're kind of tied down low and in front as I'm picking up and pulling it back. And now they're tied up here and over here. And so all the way around, I'm feeling that resistance. Now in the beginning, I recommend visualizing that resistance is only about 5 or 10 pounds. Keep it very light. And just try to have that smooth, effortless power. Later, you can expand the intensity and bring that up to 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 pounds. And what I like to do when I'm practicing, since I've been doing this for a little bit, is start out light, build up the intensity, and go back down and go light again. And that cycle maybe 90 seconds, maybe 4 or 5 minutes. So as I'm doing this, I might just go very light for a few breaths and then slowly start building up that resistance and that tension. Now remember, when I say tension, I don't mean being tight. So I want to put that power there with the least amount of effort. It's not like I'm gripping my fist and making power. Now, after you've practiced this for a while and you feel comfortable and you can make the turning of the wrists feeling like there's continuous power through every millimeter of movement. Then, now we're going to add the elbow joint. So while I'm continuing to have that power in the wrists and in the gripping of the fingers, now, as you notice, my elbows are starting to circle. The same thing we did with the wrist, I'm doing with the elbow. As the elbow is turning around in a circle here, I'm visualizing those rubber bands tied in a 360-degree angle all around the elbow. And remember, that's also left, right, front, back, up, down. So you have that power in all 6 directions. It's not just on a line or a plane. So as we're circling the wrists and the elbows, that power is going forward and back, left and right, and up and down. So I've got that power now with my wrists and my elbows. And again, you might just stay here for a few weeks and practice this. Now, we add the shoulders. So on the shoulder rolling, as I'm rolling the shoulders, they might be a little bit off sync, where one is alternating from the other, or they might be turning together. There's no one way to do this. The important thing is as you're playing around with this and moving these joints, that every movement, every millimeter of movement has a purpose. So you're putting that power from the floor to the grip, to the wrist, to the elbow, and to the turning of the shoulder. And again, each one of those has an equal amount of focus. Now, if you're just trying to figure this out, this is kind of a lot. There's a lot going on here, and this is only through years and years of practice that you really get to a deep level of this movement. But as you're doing this, you might want to break it down and just focus on doing the shoulders and feeling that power and connecting to the floor or the elbows or the wrists. For purposes of the video, so we're not spending too much time, I'm going to just hopefully plant the seed and give you the idea how to play with this, and you can spend your own time learning how to experiment with it. And again, if you have any questions, bring them out, and I'm happy to do the best I can to answer. So now, if we're sticking to the series, we've got the grip, we've got the wrists, we've got the circling of the elbows and the rotation of the shoulders. Now, we're going to start adding the hips. And when you're doing the hips, it's kind of like almost like a hula dancer. So you want to try to be loose, and that tailbone is circling left and right, however you want to do it. But it's also the waist is cupping and bending forward and back. So there's a lot of movement there. And wherever that movement is, remember, you want to have that power in all 6 directions. And the connection of that movement is in coordination with the shoulder, the elbow, and the wrist. So as I'm moving, so there's a lot going on. And trust me, if it feels difficult the first few times, that's normal. This isn't easy to do and develop the coordination. Then we do the same thing with the knees. So we throw the knees into the game. And again, they could be alternate, they could be the same, in or out, depending on how you're moving the power through the body and connecting to the floor. And then lastly, we're going to focus on the ankles, and you're visualizing the circling of the ankles. Now, once you've played around with this for a while, and you're coordinating the hips, the knees, the ankles, the shoulders, the elbow, and the wrists, you'll find that when you're going through some of your movements in your application, you'll learn how to use that structure of generating that whip-like power through the body. You probably heard the term of snapping your punches. Well, this will help you put that whip and that snap in those strikes, and give you a lot of power with what you're doing. It's a great exercise, and it doesn't really matter what martial art you're doing. When you learn how to develop this coordination with your body and the timing and the power from this, you can really get a lot of benefit from this simple practice. So I hope you find some value in this and you enjoyed the lesson. Please comment below if you have any questions, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next video. If you haven't already, please like the channel. I'm trying to put up new content all the time. If you have anything you'd like to see, make a note of that, and I'll see what we can do to help you out. Thanks a lot.